I am the greatest.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit. Just stick and move. Waking you up and saying, now stick and move. Keep your hands up.
Welcome to a new episode of the Stick and Move podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my homeboy, Sam. And today we're going to have a deep discussion, a debate, I guess, of skills pay the bills versus there are weight classes for a reason. So let's just not beat around the bush. Sam, what are your thoughts, first of all, on those two phrases? You know, skills pay the bills. I know that's been a hot topic lately. Talk to me. What do you got?
You know, there's fights that I've seen, bro, that is automatically weight classes for a reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's automatically. When I think about stuff like that, I think about, like, the first one that comes up to mind is the Joey Gamache and Arturo Gatti fight.
Yeah.
Where Joey
several damaging left hooks.
This night is because of the reach. Gotti is able to land these right hands from a distance, even at hook for Richie.
He's also looks so much bigger than he does.
Yeah, and he's got a 15-pound weight advantage. Every time he lands a shot, it's abundantly clear. And Benji Esteves isn't going to bother with a count here, as Gamache's eyes were closed. Right uppercut, and you see why we were worried about Joey Gamache, whose eyes were closed well before he hit the canvas. The uppercut was perfect, George.
And not only that, he's getting his whole body into it, like one of those home run hitters hit a baseball. You don't want to be hit like that from wide range. You stand way out there, nothing blocked.
It was a 140-pound fight, and Arturo Gatti showed up at 161. And I was reading an article today saying that Devin Haney, remember, he's my number one pound for pound. I was reading something saying that Devin Haney came into the fight against his who was his recent opponent.
That he came. Yeah, go ahead.
He came in at 165.
Yeah,
he came in 20 pounds heavy.
And you and I have been having. I think you and I got into a off the camera discussion when we found out Benavidez ballooned all the way up to over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
When he last fought Andrade, and you and I were going back and forth, like, what's the point of having these weight classes if boxers are ballooning up, the weekend before the fight, So, I mean, that's where I kind of want to take it. You know what I'm saying? It's like at some point, when does weight become the issue versus skills pay the bills? Because to me, in my opinion, if you're going up from one class to the next, you're climbing the ladder, right? Yes, skills can pay the bills. But once you start jumping 2, 3 classes, I mean, that's when weight becomes an issue. The only major exception I could probably see is probably Roy Jones Jr. and Dries, right?
Yes.
So, but even then, like, yes, Reese was a champion at the time, but he was considered a low guard champion. At that time, it wasn't really considered, for me, I never really cared for Reese back in the day. But I mean, there's a reason why Roy Jones chose him and not Lennox Lewis, who was a champ, or Chris Bird, if I'm not mistaken, who was a champ as well at the time, or an up and coming Klitschko, who was the monster at the time. I mean, I think there's ways around it, but once you start, if you're climbing the ladder from one class to the next, that makes sense to me, where skills can pay the bills. But once you start jumping 2 or 3 or more classes, that is a problem. Talk to me.
Here's a question for you. We're having an open discussion here.
Yeah.
What about in the heavyweight division? What do you think about the whole Tyson? Yeah, what do you think about the Tyson?
Hey guys, Trey here. If you love today's controversial episode and you want to see our channel grow, please drop a like, subscribe, and also comment. Sam and I are always going back and forth with those commenters on our controversial topics and opinions, and we love it so much. So go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe, most importantly, so our channel can grow and we can give you guys the best content as possible. Sam and I were always uploading multiple videos a week, and we want to continue doing that, and we need your help. So go ahead and subscribe, guys. And most importantly, like I always say, don't forget to stick and move, baby.
Tyson versus Wilder.
Let's go deeper.
I mean, dude, it was like 60, 70. I don't know how many. It was ridiculous, bro.
Well, we could go all the way back to Evander Holyfield. He was always underweight. I guess he was always like 210, 213. Fighting
Yeah,
guys.
I remember that.
I remember when he fought Bo, I think Bo was 240. He was, what, 213? I mean, it wasn't until later on in his career when he was finally evening out, when he broke that 220-pound barrier, Evander Holyfield, but he was losing all the time at that point. It's kind of like he outgrew his size, and he was never really the same. To go with Tyson Fury, to answer your question, look, you and I
putting that weight on top of Wilder. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And let's talk to the audience here. Should there be an extra weight, super heavyweight division? I mean, that's the question. Like, is heavyweight from 200 to a 300-pound man, which I think has happened maybe a few times with that big Russian, the Valuev guy. I think that was the exception when he fought Holyfield, which was, I think it was 220 and Valuev was like 310 or something like that. I could be wrong, but dude, there needs to be weight classes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So are we for weight rehydration clauses? Yes, right?
There has to be, bro.
There has
to be.
Right?
I don't know.
Because
I
that's
mean,
the way Tank put it on Ryan.
Yeah.
Where Ryan was like, oh, he didn't let me, get into a healthier or my weight or whatever. Of course, it's Ryan's fault for signing the fight. I'm not going to discredit Tank for what he did, but there's clauses for that for a reason.
Mhm.
There's, you know what I'm saying? Right? Do you agree? I mean, or we can't let people, because Tank knew that if we had no rehydration clause or whatever, right? Ryan would have showed up to the fight 15 or 10 pounds heavier, and it could have changed the outcome of the fight. Do you think that?
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you signed the contract, now I know this is contradictory because you and I have had that Benavidez conversation behind the camera. There is truth to that. I mean, it's one of those, like, if you sign the contract and there is a rehydration clause or there isn't, I mean, okay, let's go a little bit further. If you sign a contract and there is no rehydration clause, Benavidez goes from 168 to 200, and Andrade stays at 168, 170, more or less around there. Is that Benavidez's fault or Andrade not taking advantage? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, we can't discredit Benavidez because Andrade signed for the fight.
I mean, look, that's a tough conversation to have. I mean, if you're gonna, I'll be honest with you, and I don't like it, man. I think there should be a rehydration clause because boxers can take over. I remember they made a big deal about Canelo when he was at 154, and they were saying, well, he's a natural 168, 175, and people made a big deal about it. And going to Benavidez and Andrade, I think if there is going to be a rehydration clause, I think you need to go in there expecting that this guy is not just going to gain 5 pounds after the weigh-in, that he's going to balloon up as much as possible, to where he's more comfortable. I don't know. What do you think?
Look, put it this way. How do you think Benavidez would do? We're just assuming that Canelo and Benavidez fight happened September. Let's say, right? Let's say the fight happened September. Is it fair for Canelo to put a hydration clause or a clause for Benavidez not to go over 168?
Well, I think it's fair
I
if
think
they
it's
both.
fair.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're gonna sign it, then it's fair. I just don't. What if they were to put like a plus minus? You can only gain 5 pounds. You can only gain 10 pounds the most, and it's kind of like we're gonna weigh you again before you walk into the ring or something like that. I don't even know if that's possible.
That's
You
because they
know?
get a lot of hate, man. They get a lot of hate because they get a lot of hate. A lot of boxers get a lot of hate because they're like, oh, he put clauses on me,
Hmm.
and he didn't let me hydrate, or whatever, right? He put limitations on my weight. But I mean, if you're fighting at 168 or if you're fighting at 140 or whatever weight class you are, I mean, do we all agree that, you know, going over 10 pounds is just way too much?
Well, let's go to the Haney Garcia thing. And I've heard from a lot of experts that a lot of people believe that Garcia was not it was not a fair fight because of the clause.
With
But
Tank.
yeah, I'm sorry, with Tank, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
But I mean, Garcia knows that. I mean, what was he expecting? Was he really expecting a 5, 10 pound, maybe a 3 pound advantage for Tank? Or did he really think Tank was gonna balloon up that much? I don't know, man. I could see the logic. For me, and this might sound controversial, but I think there's got to be a limit, man, because at a certain point, when does it get dangerous? Because if Benavidez is weighing 200, 205 pounds, and Andrade is at 165, I mean, one good hook from Benavidez can literally damage the smaller guy. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So,
I
what do you
agree.
think about that? Should there be a yeah, there's a weight clause, but you can only maybe 5, 10 pounds max or whatever they agree to? What are you okay with that silver lining?
Yeah, I'd rather have all. Yeah, man, I'd rather have that, and than somebody gaining 20, 30 pounds, bro. It's because look, and I'll probably hear it in the comment section, but that weight that Tyson Fury had over Wilder, bro, it played a huge factor in my opinion, dude. I mean,
Uh
that dude put his whole body on top of Wilder's back.
he did.
Well, if they were in the same weight. The say Wilder was 210 pounds, and so was Tyson Fury. Let's just say. What do
Mhm.
you think the outcome of that fight would have been? The same?
No, I don't. I don't. I honestly think that Wilder, I think it would have lucked. Well, look, if Wilder hits him where they're plus minus 5 pounds, like a normal division, then dude, Tyson Fury is not getting up from that 12th round uh gift the referee gave him on that slow count. There's no way he's getting up. I honestly think that part of that weight and that height disparity that Fury had over Wilder, that was that was big. I mean, you've seen guys hit Wilder in the stomach and I'm sorry, hit Fury in the stomach and Fury's just waving it off like this means nothing to me.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's a 70, 80 pounds, sometimes 60 pounds difference between the two. And there is a contrast of power. It just
Yeah.
is. If
Yeah.
Wilder and Fury are fighting both at 240, 245, give or take, let's just say,
Let's say, yeah.
then yeah, dude, the impact of the punch that Wilder would have had on Fury would have been more significant. The leaning of Tyson Fury and leaning on Wilder would not have tired him as much. We could have seen a totally different fight if there was actually reasonable heavyweight divisions instead
So
of
there should
one.
there should so there should have been another class for that for at least Tyson Fury. I
Yeah, I
mean,
agree.
they're just okay when it comes to, like, let's say skills pay the bills, right?
Yeah. So let's go to that. Skills pay the bills.
Yeah,
Talk.
skills pay the bills. That is the first person that comes to mind. Skills pay the bills is Naoya Inoue, the
Okay.
monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that guy is moving up in ranks, bro, and it's all skills paying the bills, bro. You know what I mean? 100%. And I don't think it has nothing to do with weight.
Well,
He's just technically better than a lot of these fighters.
I agree with that, but he's doing it what I talked about earlier. He's going class by class.
Yeah, he's doing it.
He's not
Yes.
he's not leapfrogging 2 or 3 I mean, look, you want to break it down. When Mikey Garcia jumped 2 weight classes to fight
that's
Errol
right.
Spence. That was what, and everybody was talking about it. Even to this day, they don't really give Errol Spence the, I mean, now his legacy is kind of torn to pieces, but at the time, they're not really giving him that credit. Actually, they were downgrading Errol Spence's credit because even though he had a 2-pound weight class advantage, he wasn't able to knock him down or much less knock him out, So that's another example.
You know what, bro? 100%.
100%
what you're saying, bro. You just opened up my eyes right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. There's weight classes for a reason, bro.
Hey, let's go to skill. Here's another one that sticks out to me.
Yeah.
I know we talk Canelo a lot. People hate him. But when Canelo jumped from 154 to 165, I want to say 167, I think he met Chavez Jr., even though Chavez Jr. was the bigger boxer. Height and weight, he jumps up to fight him, and you saw the skills of Canelo. I mean, you can argue Chavez Jr. was already a shot fighter at the time. He was kind of already hesitant to punch.
Yeah.
But, dude, you just saw the different level Canelo was in preparation to go down to fight a Triple G. In my opinion, what Canelo did to fight Chavez Jr., that was more, even at a higher weight than Triple G at 160, was more to test his endurance and his chin, And then he went back down to fight Triple G, and the rest is history. But I just think skills pay the bills is so far and in between where somebody can jump up multiple weight classes and take on the champ from there. It would have to be a calculated risk. Go ahead.
Yeah, another fight that comes to mind of a guy that jumped 2 weight divisions is with Jermell went up to fight Canelo, bro.
That's true. You saw the difference.
And there's weight classes for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Weight classes for a reason. And Canelo was just too skilled, bro.
Yeah.
He was just he's too skilled. Let's talk about Canelo versus Bivol. When Canelo went up to 175 to, there's weight classes for a reason. Both Bivol and Canelo are super talented fighters. Before the fight, no, go ahead. You have something in your mind.
Canelo versus Jamal. I like where you went.
Jamal. Yeah.
I have always, I think we brought it up on when we did that live episode. I have always known Jamal, actually both Charlos, to be super insanely ripped. Like their 6-pack is popping. Yeah. Right? Their biceps are popping. They're super athletes, right?
Yeah.
When Jamal jumped up those 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, his 6-pack was almost gone, bro, because he was trying to consume more than actually condition, and he just was not ready for the fight. Let's go to a modern conversation. Well, that is a modern conversation, but what everybody's talking about now, if Crawford jumps up to fight Canelo, going up 3 weight classes, right? Dude, he's not going to look the way we're used to him looking at 147. The only way he looks like the way he does physically at 147 than at 168 is if he takes 2 or 3 years and climbs the ladder where he can condition himself properly and mold and sculpt his body to where he can get to that 168 range and look exactly, if not better, than what he did at 147. But because of Father Time, he's already going to be 36. It's not going to look good. And I just think, and look, Floyd Mayweather was on the news today saying, well, look, if Canelo doesn't want to fight Benavidez and Crawford, well, maybe Benavidez and Crawford should fight each other then.
Yeah.
At 168.
Yeah, he was saying,
go ahead.
Yeah, he was saying, if Crawford was willing to go up to 168 to fight Canelo, You know, and Benavidez wants Canelo. Why doesn't Crawford and Benavidez fight and the winner gets Canelo? You know what I'm saying? Something like
that'd be a great idea. But now you're talking about a guy, dude, Benavidez, if he fights Crawford,
it'd be another Mikey and Arrow.
Here's the difference.
Probably worse.
Crawford and Canelo make sense because they're more or less the same height. I actually think Crawford's a little bit taller than Canelo. And it makes sense. Like they're eye to eye. If Benavidez, if I'm not mistaken, is 6'1", right? And he's gonna balloon up to 200. So
yeah, he's 205, 200. Yeah,
he's gonna balloon up to 200. Let's just give it a modest 190. Let's say he goes into the ring 190, 6'1". Okay,
with hand speed and stamina.
That would be I think that would be a worse destruction of a fight for Crawford than if Crawford fought Canelo, because Canelo and him are more eye to eye. This will be a height disparity thing. And in my opinion, that would just be all types of wrong for Crawford.
And Benavidez has better stamina than Canelo, in my opinion.
Yeah. So it's a tough conversation to have. I mean, but let's go back to the olden days, bro. You know, I mean, Rocky Marciano made an entire career being outweighed. He was a cruiserweight. He was pretty much a cruiserweight fighter fighting against heavyweights.
Yeah, by height and everything.
You could go with Sam Langford. You want to go back to the 1900s, to the 1920s. I mean, that guy was always outsized, and he's many consider him the greatest boxer who ever lived. You know. So we've seen cases where skills pay the bills and outdoing better than weight classes for a reason.
And Mike Tyson, his skills pay the bills.
Oh man, I mean, he was a tank though, bro. He was a tank. I mean, he was 220 pounds solid, bro.
Dude, he was fighting giants, bro. But I mean, we don't want to get into. He was fighting giants, but. Oh, man, I don't know. That was a tough one. That one's a tough one. You know, because once he got into the top echelon of fighters like Holyfield and Lennox, that's where he struggled.
This is where I want to go before we sign off. I've been wanting to talk about this episode since we started this, back in July or August, something like that. Because I remember when Canelo defeated Corvallis.
Okay, yeah.
In 2019, defeated him. He goes to 175, if I'm not mistaken. He defeats him. And at the time, ESPN analyst Jalen Rose, I didn't even know he's basketball, but supposedly he loves boxing more than basketball, supposedly. I'm going to paraphrase this. But he actually would tweet at the time, Canelo should fight Lomachenko or Crawford.
Oh my God.
Now, here's the problem, bro. At that time, Lomachenko was 135, Crawford was 147. I don't think he understands weight classes. What do you think of, hyperbole fights like that?
I think it's ridiculous. It's total people that they don't know boxing, bro.
Yeah,
they don't know boxing. I could still recall, bro, many years ago, when the whole internet thing came out. I remember somebody, believe it or not, bro. I remember. Oh, this was before the internet. I remember hearing. I think I've told you this one. It was the most stupidest thing I ever heard. Somebody said, "I want to see Chavez versus Mike Tyson." Oh man, that's when I knew, okay, I cannot talk to this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy doesn't know anything about boxing. Mm-hmm. And that's the same way Jalen Rose doesn't know about divisions. He doesn't know what's going on in boxing, in my opinion. He's just a bystander looking from the outside and following some type of hype train or something.
Another version of there's weight classes for a reason was when De La Hoya fought Bernard Hopkins.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? I mean, Bernard Hopkins, you know, all time, probably the greatest, dirtiest fighter of all time. I mean, he took it to him. The famous liver shot that made De La Hoya pound the canvas in
Yeah.
frustration, where he couldn't even stand up. I mean, you know, so what is it? What is
Well,
it?
look, Manny Pacquiao defied the odds.
Yes,
Manny Pacquiao is skills pays the bills. Yeah. Manny Pacquiao, there was no weight classes for a reason for Manny. Manny was chopping heads from flyweight all the way up, bro.
Remember when he goes up to fight Margarito?
Dude,
I think Margarito was 150 and Pacquiao was like 146, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he, you know, he was chopping heads. There was no. So when it comes to Manny Pacquiao, it's about skills pay the bills. I'm trying to think of somebody else. I mean, what boxer out there besides Manny Pacquiao went up all those weight divisions? Oh, Duran.
Yeah,
Duran.
Well, that guy fought 5 decades. So
yeah, that guy went up, and it just didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I understand why Bud wants to, you know, show the world to be a 3-time, you know, undisputed champion or whatever he wants to do, because he wants to prove that skills, you know, pay the bills.
If you're gonna leapfrog, okay, this is the only time I'll endorse skills pay the bills. This is for me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're climbing the ladder, one class at a time, that is it. Okay. If you're gonna leap more than one class, I mean, you're talking about insane odds. Yes, even to the point, like I remember. Here's another one when Chavez Jr. fought. He went up to light heavyweight from, I think, from 160 to light heavyweight, and he fought what was his name? Fonfura,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And dude, like Chavez, I mean, whether you love him or hate, I think you had him number one, your most overrated boxer of all time.
Yeah.
One of the greatest chins ever.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that Fonfura guy, I think he was from Europe or something like that. Huge. I mean, this guy looked like a heavyweight, but for some reason he was light heavyweight. Like all the punches were bouncing off him. And Fonfura, who was not even a top contender at the time, just peppering him to death. Chavez had no answer. By the way, never went down too, by the way. So it goes to show you his chin and endurance. But it was just one of those, you saw how Chavez was the more skilled boxer. But when it's taking on a bigger man, there is a difference, bro. There is, and you know what? It goes around most of all sports. I remember playing street ball. I was a really good basketball player back then. And I remember we challenged some guys from in the college. I think they're a little bit like 24, 25 years old after college. And, you know, I was in high school. And, bro, we couldn't even move the ball on these guys. It was just, they had their man body.
Yeah.
You know, still, there was just a difference. And I don't know, man. Like, to me, if you're going to climb the ladder, it's okay. That's where skills can pay the bills. But once you start jumping more than 2 or 3 weight classes, that is a problem. And I honestly think the heavyweight division should have multiple divisions.
What happened to the bridgeweight?
The bridgerweight, yeah. I don't think it ever took off. I know they named it after that little kid who saved his daughter. I mean, his daughter, little kid and his daughter, his sister or something like that. But
yeah.
I guess it never took off. It doesn't have that appeal, the heavyweight appeal. You know, that's why cruiserweight is kind of a dud. It's been a dud forever, you know? So I'll give you the last word. Go ahead.
Yeah, so do you think it's unfair that Tyson Fury can show up at, you know, 280 pounds and Usyk at 215? Well, high differential, no, that no, it's not, right?
No. So does that reflect badly on a guy like Tyson Fury?
Oh.
Does that damage his legacy that he's always the bigger guy? Or is it more, look, bro, I just want to be a boxer. This is the division you put me in. It is what it is.
So if Usyk wins, his skills pays the bills.
100%.
100%. All right.
As a matter of fact, let me close on this. Do you think if you outweigh the guy by multiple classes and you don't knock him out, but you still win, is that damaging of your legacy?
Depends on who it is, bro. If
Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia, people don't really give Errol Spence like, oh, he beat Mikey Garcia, who was undefeated at the time. That's not a notch on Errol Spence's belt. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a tough question. Canelo beating Chavez Jr. from 154 to 165. That's not a notch on Canelo's belt, even though he was a smaller guy.
Do you think Canelo could have knocked him out, or you think Canelo could not knock him out?
Well, it's already been stated that he wanted to show the world that he can fight at that division and that he can control a fight. He wanted to teach him a boxing lesson. And I don't know. Then again, even Chavez said that he didn't feel any of his power, even though Chavez looked like he didn't throw any punches, So,
yeah. Anyway.
All right. So, do you have any final words for our audience out there?
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody that's been commenting. I've been trying to reach out, to people's questions and comments. And I appreciate all the love and support from you guys. If y'all can, help us share the channel, to make it grow so we can continue making more content and liking all our stuff and just joining us with the lives. We're going to have more lives. We got a whole bunch of fights that are coming up. We're going to try to make that happen. Absolutely. And, just want to thank everybody,
Yeah, for those of y'all that are donating to our channel, we appreciate you guys. Famous Aiken McCall. We give you guys all, we appreciate everything you guys have done for us. We're trying to get to our goal of 1,000 followers. If you get a message from me, I am Trey at the Stick and Move podcast. You get a message from Sam. He is Stick and Move Sam 75. And as I always like to say, don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am the greatest.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.